This is one of the darkest days for DC fans. Henry Cavill has confirmed he will not be playing Superman anymore, which confirms a full DC reboot is about to happen. Hey everyone, welcome back to our movie news. Today we have the worst news that I have heard regarding DC in a long time, and I and many other fans are extremely upset. Henry Cavill has released an official statement confirming that he won't be playing Superman anymore, which I will let you read for yourself. Warner Bros. Discovery has really messed up here. Under their watch, Cavill was out, but The Rock and his team fought so hard to bring him back, and Discovery allowed it, and they massively hyped up his return. DC and Warner Bros. Reposted Henry Cavill's announcement video on all of their social media accounts. The majority of the DC fandom was in celebration that Cavill was back, and faith had been restored in the DC universe. And then James Gunn comes in and changes all of that, and I think the blame is far more on Gunn's shoulders than Safran's, because Safran just does the business decisions. Gunn is the creative one in this. This really feels like a lack of respect to the fans, to Henry Cavill, and to The Rock's team. This is a really painful decision DC has made, because it doesn't just mean Cavill is out, it also means a full reboot is happening. You do not work so hard to bring Cavill back and then to announce he is done as Superman if you're just hiring a new actor to play Superman in the current DCU. You don't make Cavill announce that he won't be playing Superman if you're just doing a soft reboot. This is a full-scale reboot. I said in my previous video, when the full reboot was just a rumor, that a full reboot was an extremely lazy decision that has no heart in it and no care for the DC fandom. And I kind of disagree with that now. Sure, the DC universe was a bit messy, and yes, a couple of recasts may have needed to happen, but it was far from over. A few changes and the DC universe could have been back on track. But I do understand why a reboot would happen. You have actors who are aging, and where some don't want to play their characters anymore, or some who just need to be recasted, and a storyline that is kind of confusing. So I'm far more upset at how this reboot is happening rather than the actual reboot itself. If the whole Superman cameo in Black Adam never happened, and The Rock hadn't hyped up the fans about DC's exciting future, and it seemed that there was no way for Cavill to return, then I would understand a reboot happening. But because there has been so much hype from the marketing team at DC, promising a new era in the DC universe, and then promising that Cavill is back for more, fans have been so excited for the future of the DCU. They were beginning to fix the wrongs the old regime had created. So progress was being made, and the faith from the fans was growing. So to reboot it now is such a bad move from them. If a reboot has to happen, then this is how I would do it. Contact almost the entire cast from the DCU. Tell them that a Justice League sequel is happening and that the villain will be Darkseid. This will be one final goodbye, and we want to make it epic. We have the entire DCU uniting against Darkseid and his army, and at the end of the film, the Flash runs back in time and erases the entire timeline, allowing a full reboot to happen. That way, you give an honorable goodbye to the DC universe and still allows a reboot to happen. Getting Cavill to put out a post saying he's not Superman anymore is extremely embarrassing for him. James Gunn has confirmed that we will hear about the first slate of films in the new year, and said that they will be focusing on a Superman in the early stages of his life, so it won't be played by Cavill. Which I get from a storytelling standpoint, but I don't get it from a fan standpoint. Cavill was born to play Superman, and there was still so much story to tell. I get that Cavill is almost 40, but that still gives 10 years plus of him being able to play Superman. But at the same time, I feel the MCU has been far worse since Iron Man and Captain America have left the universe, and that was because of the actors' ages. So DC wanting a younger Superman who can play the character in his prime for a lot longer than Cavill can does kind of make sense. But throwing that all away is such a waste. Now, I would have much preferred to have never seen Cavill in Black Adam and to have another faceless cameo, because that scene gave us hope, false hope, believing that the current DCU that many of us loved, even with all its faults, still had potential and that it was going to be on the right track. But now, that cameo is pointless. The DC films coming out next year are pointless. It will all mean nothing to the DC universe. So they've just doomed those 4 films next year. I get the reboot. From a creative standpoint, it makes sense. Nothing holding you back and having a clear, cohesive story from the start, and I'm sure it will be really good. But the way they have gone around things here is borderline embarrassing. It will take them a long time to regain the trust of many DC fans. I'm one of the more forgiving ones, and I'm going to need some time before I can trust DC again. They are rebooting the DC universe that I love, and specifically Henry Cavill's Superman, which is not only my favourite superhero of all time, but Henry Cavill is my favourite Superman of all time, and to have that false promise that he was coming back for more is extremely painful. Quite honestly, I feel betrayed by the company. I and millions of others have invested so much of our time and love and passion into this DC universe, for that all to be erased in a matter of months. There was still so much potential for this DC universe, and it's all gone. And I completely understand the outrage and anger from DC fans. I have calmed down a bit, and I'm trying to see both sides, but if I have to decide, a reboot definitely would not happen. But I understand why a reboot will happen. I just think if it is a must, we then also need a final goodbye to the DCU. Not the 4 films coming out next year, but an actual proper goodbye. One that the DC fandom can be proud of. Then fill your boots with a reboot. But it feels like the studio owes us. For all our loyalty throughout these years, through thick and thin, us DC fans have been there. And it feels like this has all been thrown in our face. And I think we will unfortunately feel like that until there is a lot of evidence as to why we should trust the company again. I will stick around for the reboot. Sure, I'm upset and angry right now, but I'm still a DC fan. I think they have a golden opportunity to utilize what is already there, but a reboot could also be good. I'm just extremely upset about how they went around things. I think it's been done in very much a heartless business way, instead of a respectful, thanking the actors and fans way, and that's what I'm upset about. The brutality of it, and the sudden 180 in storytelling. From the DCU is back on track, to the DCU is having a full reboot. It's an extremely painful experience for us fans. I'm not going to tell any fan to calm down or to back the new DCU, because I completely understand any fan's anger. I had the same anger, but now I'm more upset than angry. Upset that my favourite version of Superman won't ever be seen on the big screen again, and that the DC universe won't continue. But like I've said, I can see the positives from the reboot. I just think they shouldn't expect any DC fan to be loyal to them, and that the backlash is completely understandable and justified. I think if we're going to be angry at someone, we should be more angry at the old regime who ruined the DCEU in the first place, rather than the new regime and DC Studios who have been given a messy universe where a lot of the actors either don't want to return or shouldn't return. Whatever they chose to do, it would have been an extremely controversial decision. It just seems they've picked the worst decision of them all, and they've done it in the worst way. This is an embarrassing day for Warner Bros. Discovery and DC, and an upsetting day for DC fans. Yes, I am hopeful for the new DCU, and I hope the reboot is a success, but that won't stop me from being upset and angry about the reboot actually happening, and the way it's happened has been very disrespectful to all those who have been invested in this universe. I will forever love the DCEU for all it has done, the lessons I've learned, and the heroes who have inspired me to be a better person. We've had highs, we've had lows, but most importantly, we've had the DC Extended Universe. A universe that I will always cherish and will always be a part of me. They may reboot the universe, but they can't erase the Blu-rays I have of these movies. So to the directors and actors and everyone who has worked on the DCEU, thank you. As for the future of the DCU, I really don't know what to say. I guess we will just have to wait and see what they have in store for us. So whether you want to stick around or not, it's up to you. I'm going to be far more cautious about the future of the DC universe. I'm not going to be excited as such, but I won't reject the new story without at least seeing what they plan to do. But they have a lot of making up to do, and fans will forever compare what they do in the rebooted universe to the DCEU, and that is something that they will have to live with. But make sure to let me know what you think of this terrible news in the comments below. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here again soon, so until then, have a great day. Bye!